All right, welcome back for another episode of Chasing Ghosts. This is the video series where I talk about those hard to find, those impossible to find comics, those things you're just not going to see up on the wall at your LCS. You're going to have to do some digging, some hunting, get lucky, and do a lot of legwork to track some of these, comics down because they're just not that easy to find. Hopefully you're enjoying this series as well as everything else here on the channel. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Please like, subscribe, hit the alert button so you don't miss anything. Keep telling your friends we can keep growing the channel. Yes, we have surpassed the 2,500 subscriber mark, but we are on our way to 3K. And make sure you stop by the tax show tomorrow because I will be giving away prize packs live on the show tomorrow. And we'll probably do one for an after the show for the replay watchers. But live tomorrow is your best chance to get one of at least 3 prize packs that I'm going to give away. Each has over $100 worth of comics inside. So you like free stuff? Just come watch the show, hang out. We're going to be talking some the best modern comics to invest in, as well as some weird collectibles, this week's news, and go over this week's comics as well, as far as the reviews and whatnot. So come join us, have some fun in the chat, and get yourself some free stuff. With that all said, if you want to see what books I have for you today for the Chasing Ghost show, just hang on for a few seconds after the intro, and I will be right back. All right, so first up, we are going to start off with one of my favorite artists. It's no lie, I'm a big fan of Adam Hughes. I like him. I just do. And this, albeit a more recent cover, apparently is not that easy these days. I was surprised. Let's just take a look at the numbers here. So, Adam Hughes, February 2019. So it's only a few years ago. 1 in 50 incentive for Avengers, No Road Home, #1. I like it. Gorgeous Scarlet Witch. I have this. I actually got this in a 9.8 personal, for my personal copy. So I do have one of these. I graded it myself. So I didn't buy a 9.8. I just bought it raw. Got lucky grading it. That said, 64,000 plus on the estimated print one, which would give our incentive, even at a 1 in 50, almost 1,300 copies. In the census, we have 51. So they're 36 9.8s. Hey, one of them's mine. 8 9.6s and a few others. Copies sold. Not surprised here. There's a good number sold. I found a few sales here and there. Raw selling for like $85. Best offer on $140. There was a 9.6 that sold for $165, and it looks like a 9.8 sold for like $200. Okay, it's not terrible for what it is. 1 in 50. That seems to make sense, even with the print run numbers that we're looking at. But when I went to go look at what was available, I tried to search it a few different ways. I did because I was surprised that I only found one. This whole thing is all about timing. And right now, there's only one up there right now. And it's a 9.6, looking for $200. So there you go. Again, these are estimated numbers based on the best information that we have. And this is all a snapshot in time. So if I do this search in a month, maybe it's different. But I did this search today. There's only one copy out there right now. So it is what it is. Moving on, I got another Hughes for you. This time, Doctor Strange #11. This is, again, another 1 in 50 by Adam Hughes. This time, we're going to go back a little bit more to September of 2016 on this cover. I like it, yeah. I like the layout of it, of how it's kind of layered with Doctor Strange up front, then the trade dress, and then a kind of like a faded, almost the ambiance kind of Scarlet Witch there in the background, but I still like it. I like it. I do not have this one, actually. I thought I did, but I was flipping through it and I didn't find it. So I think this is one I still got to go and track down, personally, for my PC. But print run on this was about 53,000. Again, this is Doctor Strange #11, 2016. So this puts our incentive at a little over 1,000 potential copies, if we go off of those numbers. In the census, we got a solid 76 in the census, 35 9.8s, 28 9.6s, and then a few others. Had only one sale that I could find over the last 3 months, and it was a 9.6, sold for $200, thereabouts. But there are copies. If you wanted to buy one, I found 4. I found 4 copies out there. Price kind of all over. I mean, a 9.4 was looking for 178. Then I had a 9.8 that wanted $800. Then I found another 9.8 signature series that wants $2,500. And then I found another 9.8 looking for $990. So this is approaching $1,000 in 9.8. Really? When did this happen? And a 9.4 is only 178 by comparison. I guess that math works out when you figure it. Yeah. Anyway, I was surprised by these prices. I didn't think this one was that expensive, especially when you saw that, what was it? That 9.6 sold for like $200. So I don't know. It is what it is. But there is our Doctor Strange number 11. All right, that's enough Hughes. I know I don't want to beat you over the head and giving you Hughes books all the time. I just every once in a while I like dropping a couple in here because, like I said, I'm a fan. And our next book, I'm a fan of this artist as well. And this book has been talked about. This book has been out there, talked about many times over the years. It's had its highs, it's had its lows. Well, not really, but I think now might be one of the lows. And the book I'm talking about now is Apocalypse and the Extracts #1, this gorgeous David Nakayama cover. I remember when this came out, I did not buy it because it was 1 in 50, so it was expensive for a ratio. I mean, it was priced closer to ratio. And while I do like David Nakayama, I didn't know the character. I didn't know the title, so I really didn't have a stake in getting this. So I never bought it. And I still want to look for one, but I'm still not going to pay crazy prices. And this thing was crazy priced for a while. But let's see where it's at now. David Nakayama, March 2019, 1 in 50 incentive. Print run on this. 28,000 thereabouts on the estimated for the regular. So our incentive is maybe about 550. 557 is the quick math number. Again, just an estimate, not set in stone. In the CGC census, there are 60. Plenty of these graded. 44 9.8s, 13 9.6s, and then a few others. Plenty of these have sold recently. And again, the prices were kind of surprising at where it's at now. $192 raw, $132 raw, and it looks like a 9.8 at auction, $195 with 32 bids, mind you. So still a lot of people know this book, but the prices have come down. This was like $400, I believe, at one time. Like raw was hitting like $300-400, and now $132, $195 for a 9.8. Prices may seem to be dipping a little bit. But again, there's more than this. This is just the examples I found. Because, again, there's only like 550 of these. This should be harder to find, I would have thought. But a lot of these are moving. And there's a few out there on the market, too. More than what I got here. Here's 4. And there's still more than this. But the prices, again, 9.8's looking for $400. There's a $400 raw. There's a $240 raw. And another $400 raw ask. So there, some of those old asking prices are still sitting. But you see what it's moving at. It's moving for a lot less. But some people are still holding out for those higher prices. But it looks like the demand just isn't there for this one any longer. One reason or another. You know, I think it's all cyclical, ups and downs. It's a roller coaster sometimes. You know, you buy on the dip, sell on the peaks, all that stuff. It's what you ideally want to do. It's just knowing when you're in the peaks and and dips. That's the trick. The trick is knowing where you're at on that curve. That said, let's get to another book. J. Scott Campbell, another. I know, and there's a lot of artists I like in here because, well, it's my show, so I'm picking the books I want to talk about. So I'm talking about another artist I like, J. Scott Campbell. And this time, it's another 1 in 50. This is for Amazing Spider-Man Renew Your Vows, #1. Pretty cool, Peter Parker, Mary Jane cover, a little stuffed tiger there. Nice little callback to her nickname for him. June 2015, 1 in 50 incentive. Solid number of comics on this one. Over 200,000 for the regular title. Over 200,000. And there were a lot of incentive variant, not incentive, there was some exclusive variants, some store variants, etc. For this book. So even with that estimated print run where we have it, this 1 in 50 incentive could potentially have more than 4,000 copies. Again, these are estimated numbers. Just because it says it might be a very low number doesn't mean they didn't print actually more. And just because this seems like a very high number doesn't mean they might have actually printed less. Just one of those things. It's an estimated number based off the information we have in front of us that we can find online years later. There's no definitive source that we can go to that would give us a solid answer on a lot of this stuff. So a lot of this is kind of guesswork based off of what we're working with. So despite the fact that this says there's 4,000 out there, plus there's a solid number in the census. So keep that in there. It's 478. So I don't doubt that there are a lot of these. 478 in the census, 262 for the 9.8s, 158 for the 9.6s, and a bunch of others kind of filling that out. That said, copies sold, there weren't a ton. There are a few. But this is still an expensive book. Despite the fact that those print runs could be that high, or the amount of copies could be that high, compared to some of the other things we've looked at. But 250, best offer on 250, best offer on 340. Buy it now for $360, all raw sales. Interesting. And yes, there are copies available. There's more than what I'm going to show you here. But still, the prices are there. 9.6, looking for $375. What is that? I think it might be a 9.8 for $469. It might be another 9.6. I'm sorry, it's another 9.6, I think. Looking for $469, and yet another 9.6 wants $520. So this is looking for $400 to $500 for a 9.6 is kind of where it's being priced at for this 1 in 50. That's higher than normal. And considering how many potential copies there could be, I'm surprised by that. I get it. It's Campbell. I get it. But still, seems like a pretty high price. But a lot of people want this book. So keep that in mind as well. It's not all just about print run numbers. Just because something has a low number doesn't mean it's automatically worth a ton. It's all about the supply and the demand. That's really the key here. That said, we got yet another book that has been talked about. I know you've probably heard about it. People have talked about it, other shows, over time, over the months, over the years. Outlawed. Yes, we're all expecting these young Marvel heroes to show up eventually in the MCU. Some of them have. We've got Ms. Marvel. We've seen Riri. They're starting to show up. They're starting to roll in. Does that mean we're going to get things like the Champions, Young Avengers, this outlawed story? I don't know. Maybe. But that said, this book has had its day up in the sun already. This is an Anna Rude cover, if I'm going to say that name properly. March 2020. So only 3 years old now. A 1 in 50 incentive on this Champions title. Had a print run of about just under 28,000. So the incentive is maybe about 560 copies. Not a ton. In the census, though, there are 113 because, again, this is a known quantity. People know this book. So if they got it, they're probably grading it. And it looks like they have 113 with 96 9.8s and 14 9.6s and a couple of others. So doesn't look like it's hard to get that 9.8 considering, the disparaging numbers here. But it's also hard to find. You got to find one. And then maybe you got yourself a 9.8. That said, what's sold? What sold is one of them 9.8 sold for $350. That was on March 8th. Back in February, another 9.8 sold for $450. So not cheap. Solid prices, $350 to $450. But what are the asks? That's what's sold. 2 sold. There's more than what I've got here. But here's a few examples. More than these 4. But you see where the asking price is. And this is a case where I think, just kind of like that Nakayama book, I think some of these prices are left over from the time when this was being hyped up by other areas and other people, and people want these crazy prices, and they don't want to let it go for less. Maybe they paid some of these higher crazy prices, and they need to get that money back. I don't know. But when you consider that it's actually selling in 9.8 for $350 to $450, one a month, the last 2 months, $550 raw might be a bit much. $629 for a 9.8? Oh, it doesn't seem so bad when you compare it to the $850 and the $955, also for 9.8s out there. So, I don't know. I mean, you're free, if you're a seller, you're free to ask what you want. I'm just pointing out where the market is, where the copies selling seem to be selling more in the $300 to $400 range, but you're still holding out for that grand. I get it. Just understand, you might be sitting for a while because there's more copies. You got competition. And if you actually want to move it, you might have to lower it. That's it. I'm not saying this because I want to try to lower the price because I want to buy one. I actually don't really care for this one all that much. Not a big believer in the title. I don't really love the cover all that much. It's okay, but that's just a personal thing. So this is never one that I was out there hunting. This personally, and it's just for a number of reasons. But if you want to go and buy it, there you go. There are options for you. Now, for our buddy AOA, he's going to love this next chunk of books because I have some Captain America for you. We are going to go back to Captain America in 2013, I believe. Captain America, Living Legend, 4-issue miniseries. These had 1 in 50 incentive covers. So here we go with number 1. This is Ulysses Farinas, if I'm saying that name properly. October 2013, 1 in 50. Pretty cool, kind of throwback. It's almost mixing like that old school trade dress with some more new school style art. I kind of like it. It's not bad. Different take. Different look for Cap than we normally see. If you look at the regular covers, they're classic. Granoff holding the flag, bit dark, awesome covers. Don't get me wrong. But here, different take for the 150. I kind of like it when they do something a little bit different. Makes it a little unique. Print run on issue 1 was about 32,000 thereabouts. So the incentive is maybe only about 650 for number 1. In the census, we've only got 9 copies, 898s and a 94. There have been no copies sold of this book recently. In the last 3 months, nobody's picked up a copy of this book. Nobody's looking for Cap Living Legend number 1, 1 in 50. So I figured, all right, none sold. I'm probably not going to find any out there either. But to my surprise, there were like a chunk of copies, almost like 10, if I remember. I was scrolling. Like I had to scroll a little bit. There were so many copies. And they're cheap. 16 bucks, 20 bucks, 35 bucks. Most of them I saw were in that kind of $20 range. So well under ratio. I don't know. I might go grab one just because it's different. It's different and weird. If I can get this for 16 bucks, maybe I will. We'll see. I don't know. Granted, somebody else will probably buy it before I get around to it, but I don't know. Just an oddball title, and I like things when they're priced under ratio. It's just that's where I like to. That's where I like to play. A little cheaper. I'm cheap. What do you want? That said, I was surprised. There's copies available of this one. Like I said, it's not the best cover, but I do kind of like it. It's like I said, it's different, it's unique. And the rest of these covers on this title are unique in that different kind of way, I should say. I shouldn't say the same way, in a different kind of way, because we take this, we go from this title here, we got little space aliens here. It almost looks like the little character from Future Foundation, you know, FF, the Fantastic Four. Like there's that one little dude, I can't think of his name. Maybe it is that little dude. I don't know. I didn't read this title, so I can't tell you. I'll be completely honest. Did not read these books. Just looking at the covers. But here we go. Number 2. Another like painted quality looking book. Looks like a classic title with the old school fear. It's like a House of Horror kind of thing. I like it. I like the throwback trade dress. This is Dan Brereton. Again, if I'm saying his name right. 1 in 50 at the end of October. So this is the end of the month, end of October. So right around Halloween time, this kind of horror themed cover, you hit the right time, hit the right spot. But we're looking at it today, in the middle of March. Actually, no, middle of April. Why did I say March? Middle of April. Estimated print run, 25,000 thereabouts. So the incentive is only closer to 500 here for this 1 in 50. So definitely not a lot. And like I said, pretty cool Red Skull. You don't get to see too many Red Skull covers these days. In the census, 23. So more of number 2 than there are of number 1 in the census. 17 9/8s, 5 9/6s, and then one more, 9/4. Yeah, okay, there we go. Just like the last book, no copies sold. So no sold for the 1 in 50 for number 2. And unlike number 1, there weren't a pile. There was, for whatever reason, there was a pile of cheap ones for number 1. But number 2, which I also like, this one, even though the run's kind of weird, like when you're running, you don't usually run with the same arm and same leg out at the same time. Like it's usually opposite, but whatever. This pose, left arm, left leg forward. Looks weird, but all right. I can deal with it. That said, there's only 2 copies out there. 2 copies. Looks like 9/6, $500, and a 9/8 for $720. So not cheap. Not cheap on the ask here on number 2. Pretty cool, like I said. So I'm not buying in there. It's too much for me. It's out of my price range. But there you go. If you're shopping, that's what you got to work with. So yeah, maybe get lucky, find this out there somewhere else. Get to looking. I mean, this cover should grab you. Even if this was like a regular like B variant or something, I think this is worth grabbing. So this should catch your eye, especially as an incentive. But that's number 2. Let's check out number 3. Fun kind of cover. This one almost looks like a toy box kind of cover. Like they're trying to sell you a punching bag. Remember those old punching bags with the sand on the bottom? You had to blow them up. I had a Rocky one. Anyway, Captain America Living Legend number 3. This is another 1 in 50. This is Mike Allred, November 2013 here. So we roll into the next month. Yellow kind of makes this pop a little bit. I don't know why he's fighting his shield, but his shield is trying to kill him. He's saying his shield's alive and it's trying to kill him. All right. Fun little weird cover here. I don't know. Kind of jumps out at you. 23,000 thereabouts on the print run. So our incentive is maybe down around 470. So definitely we're trending down here as the print run lowers. Only 3 in the CGC census for number 3. All 3 of them are 9/8, though. Well, we can say that. We did have one sale. We had one sale over the last 3 months, and that was a raw copy at auction with 20 bids, $537.77. Over $500 for this cover at auction. with 20 bids. So there was action. People were looking at this. People were fighting over this one. And that just ended April 9th. So only 2 days ago, this auction ended. So interesting. Definitely interesting. That said, keep my eye out. Be looking for this because right now, I couldn't find any on the market. So definitely one to be aware of and keep an eye out for because there's none there. And the last one just sold for over $500 raw. So it's definitely something to know, right? That said, let's go on to number 4. And maybe my favorite of the covers just because he's got this badass stash. Like, check out Captain America 1976. Look at it. It's perfect, like, kind of throwback, especially with the 70s. You got the color, like, outlines, like radiating out from him. You got the handlebar stash. You got the old school, shield car with the wheels out. Classic cover. Issue 4. Also, 1 in 50. This one by Francavilla. So, Francesco Francavilla, December 2013. Print run dips again, down to about 20,000, almost 21,000. So, our incentive is closer to 400 at about 418. Census numbers, we've got 6. So, I'm surprised there's 6, but 3 9/8, a 9/6, a 9/4, and a 9/0. So, not a ton there. And also not a ton selling because I couldn't find any sold the last 3 months. Nor could I find any available to buy because, like I said, I like this one and I was looking for one. And if I found one at a decent price, I might have just bought it. But none out there. So I'll have to keep looking. But still, pretty cool. Wrapping up, got one more comic with 2 covers. One more comic with 2 covers for us to finish up. We're going to go looking at Joe Quesada's Ultimate Spider-Man number 160. This is the death of Peter Parker. So we have Peter walking into the light with Uncle Ben. Classic image, nice image, very wholesome. It's wraps up his story pretty well. Before we get Miles, we had to say goodbye to Peter Parker. The Ultimate Universe's Peter Parker. Joe Quesada, June 2011. This is a 1 in 100. I think who showed me a picture that they got one of these recently? Was it Sarah? I think it was Sarah shared with me that he picked up one of these, and I thought it was pretty cool. I don't have one of these personally, but yeah, I'm going to keep looking because this book, again, was a big deal when it came out. So the print run was kind of high. So almost 160,000 for the regular print run. So even out of 1 in 100, we're looking at close to 1,600 copies. That said, 1,600 seems like a big number, as does 286 in the census with a 10-0. There is a 10-0. 8 9/9s, 186 9/8s, 45 9/6s, yada yada down the line. But there's a 10-0 and 8 9/9s. That's impressive to me. You don't see that often. But even though it seems like there's a lot of copies and even a lot in the census here, still not many sales. And when it does sell, it ain't that cheap. Best offer on 160. $300 raw, and it looks like a 9/8 sold for 450 with 6 bids. So not a lot of action on that auction. Only 6 bids, but still got itself up to $450. Available copies. I only found one the first time, and then I had to redo my search, and I did find a second. So there are 2. There's a raw out there looking for almost $700, and then there's a 9/8 signature series asking $1,500. So neither of these are cheap. So despite that the number of print, could be a little bit higher than normal for what we look at here on Chasing Ghosts, there ain't a lot out there, and it ain't cheap. So keep that in mind as well. And as I told you, this was the last comic, but we have 2 covers for it. So while we're looking at this, again, heartfelt image, Uncle Ben, Peter Parker walking off into the distance, there is a sketch version. I'm not a huge fan of the sketch version. This ain't bad. It's not a bad sketch in any way. I just prefer the other one. But here we go. This is the sketch. You got Joe Q. Once again, this is a 1 in 200. So in theory, there'll be half as many of these as there are of the last one. So same details here, same print run. But when we have the incentive, maybe it's about 796. So under 800 copies for this incentive being a 1 in 200 as opposed to the 1 in 100. Census still has a solid number of copies with 199. There is a 99, no 10-0, but there is 199, 118 9/8s, 37 9/6s, and a bunch of others. So still plenty in the census for this one too. This is, again, one of those books that people had it, they got it graded. Copies sold, couldn't find any. Couldn't find any sold of the 1 in 200. And when I went looking for any available copies, I did manage to find one. So I found one. It's a 9.8 at auction, starting bid $699.95. So $700. So starting bid $700. Coming out of Canada, so you got to tack on another $30 shipping if you buy it in the US. That said, there it is. There's our list for this week. Hopefully you found that interesting. When we take a look at it, there were a good number of books that had more than one copy out there. That's what we're doing. We basically go off the rules. Oh, there's got to be one or none, and then we'll throw that ghost tag on it. So these 7 are hard to find. So while some of them had like close to a dozen copies and others might have only had 2, we're still going to put these all in the hard to find category because it's still more than one. If it's more than one, we're not going to call it a ghost. But that leaves us with 4 other books this week. The thing used, I thought there would be more. Only had 1 copy. That 1 in 200 only had 1 copy, and then I couldn't find any of that Cap Living Legend 3 or 4. So in this week's case, since we only had one, none, and none, these ones we will call our ghosts for this week. So let me know what you think in the comments section. Let me know if you have any of these books. If you do, tag me on Instagram, share it. I love seeing when you guys have these books, when you have them already in your collection or find them, as the weeks go on. I always like seeing that stuff. I love seeing other people's collections. So don't hesitate. Tag me, share with the community. Let's we're all in this together. We're all collectors, right? And with that said, thanks for stopping by and checking this out. I do appreciate all the support. I'm still having fun doing this. I mean, this is episode 90 with 2 Star Wars specials mixed in. So this is 92 episodes of this particular show. And I'm nearing 100. I can't believe I've been doing it that long. And I still have a list of books that I have to get to. So still plenty to do, still plenty to cover, still having fun talking about comics and pop culture with you guys. Hopefully you guys are enjoying it still. And hopefully you keep telling people so we can keep growing the channel and getting even bigger and better. And with that said, don't forget to come back tomorrow for free stuff. Come back for the live tax show at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Actually, 9:15. And we will be giving away some stuff. I'll be giving away some comics. So if you want some free stuff, come back tomorrow. And with that said, as I'm punching my microphone, I'll see you guys later with some more content. All right? Bye.